When you hear the word luxury, most people instantly think of Rolls-Royce, and for good reason. This brand has been defining what it means to sit at the very top of the automotive hierarchy for over a century. But what happens when Rolls-Royce takes that already unmatched reputation and stretches it even further? That's exactly what we get with the 2025 Rolls-Royce Phantom Extended Wheelbase, a car that isn't designed just to get you from point A to point B, but to completely redefine what it feels like to travel. The first time I stood next to this machine, I realized immediately that it's not a car you simply see. It's something you experience. The sheer presence of the Phantom Extended Wheelbase makes most other luxury sedans, yes. Even the Mercedes S-Class, the BMW 7 Series, and even the Bentley Flying Spur feel almost ordinary. Rolls-Royce operates on a completely different level, almost like a private members club that only a handful of people will ever be invited to join. And that's what makes this car so fascinating. It's not just about horsepower figures or high-tech gadgets. It's about creating an emotional reaction. It's about whispering prestige instead of shouting for attention. In this review, I want to break down what makes the Phantom Extended Wheelbase such a masterpiece: its design, its interior, its performance, and of course, whether it actually makes sense in 2025 compared to its rivals. So buckle up, or in this case, recline in your backseat, because this is going to be a journey into the rarest form of automotive luxury. If there's one thing Rolls-Royce has mastered, it's the art of presence. The 2025 Phantom Extended Wheelbase doesn't need wild creases or over-the-top body lines to catch your eye. Instead, it relies on pure proportion and elegance. At over 19 feet long, this car looks more like a rolling piece of architecture than a traditional sedan. Standing next to it feels like standing beside a luxury yacht. It dominates the space without ever seeming loud or exaggerated. For 2025, the facelift brings a few subtle but important updates. The iconic Pantheon grille is slightly sharper, more upright, and now features a delicate lighting effect that gives the car an almost ethereal glow at night. Flanking it are newly designed laser headlights, which don't just illuminate the road, they sparkle, almost like finely cut diamonds. Rolls-Royce doesn't follow trends like aggressive LED signatures. Instead, it creates timeless shapes that will still look sophisticated 30 years from now. The long wheelbase version also emphasizes its extended silhouette, from the perfectly balanced hood to the sweeping roofline, and the near-infinite stretch of rear doors. The Phantom Extended Wheelbase is designed to showcase grandeur. Even the smallest details, like the Spirit of Ecstasy figurine that gracefully lowers itself when parked, feel intentional symbols of heritage and tradition that make every other car seem ordinary. What struck me the most is how restrained the design is. This car doesn't beg for attention the way a flashy Lamborghini or a hyper-styled Maybach might. Instead, it stands still, confident that you already know exactly what it is. And that, to me, is the essence of true luxury confidence without noise. Step inside the 2025 Rolls-Royce Phantom Extended Wheelbase, and the outside world instantly disappears. This is not just an interior. It's an environment meticulously crafted to isolate you from everything beyond the glass. The extended wheelbase version exists for one reason: to elevate the rear seat experience to levels that rival private jets and even luxury suites. And honestly, it succeeds in ways no other car can. The first thing you notice is space, endless legroom that feels almost surreal. You don't sit in the Phantom, you lounge. Rear passengers sink into hand-stitched leather thrones that can recline fully, complete with calf rests and massage functions. The craftsmanship is impossible to ignore. Lambswool floor mats softer than most carpets at home, wood veneers polished to mirror-like perfection, and headliners that can be customized with starlight constellations. If you've never experienced the fiber-optic Starlight Headliner, imagine lying back in your car seat and gazing up at a miniature night sky designed exclusively for you. Every surface you touch exudes richness. Even the door handles feel like they were milled from a solid block of luxury. Rolls-Royce also continues to prioritize silence inside the cabin. Engineers use over 200 pounds of sound-deadening materials, double-glazed windows and special tires filled with foam to eliminate road noise. The result? A level of quiet that makes even whispering feel too loud. What's striking here is not just comfort, but the philosophy behind it. Rolls-Royce isn't trying to overwhelm you with technology or flashing screens like a Mercedes-Maybach. Instead, it's about creating an atmosphere of calm, dignity, and exclusivity. In the Phantom Extended Wheelbase, you don't just travel, you exist in a world entirely your own. When people think of Rolls-Royce, technology isn't usually the first thing that comes to mind. It's luxury, craftsmanship, tradition. But don't let the old world charm fool you. The 2025 Phantom Extended Wheelbase is filled with cutting-edge tech. The difference is Rolls-Royce hides it under layers of elegance, so it never feels like you're surrounded by gadgets. Instead, everything is discreet, intuitive and designed to serve, not overwhelm. The infotainment system, for example, doesn't dominate the dashboard with massive screens like a Tesla or BMW i7. Instead, it's tucked behind wood veneer panels that slide open only when needed. Rear passengers get retractable touchscreens built into the seatbacks, offering access to navigation, entertainment, and even bespoke climate settings. It's there when you want it, invisible when you don't. That balance is pure Rolls-Royce. One of the standout features is the Bespoke audio system, considered one of the best in the world. With 18 speakers strategically hidden behind leather and wood, it creates an experience closer to a concert hall than a car cabin. And because the Phantom is so quiet, the clarity of the music is unlike anything else. You hear details in songs you've never noticed before. There are also the little touches that scream exclusivity, umbrellas integrated into the doors, tables that fold out like those on a private jet, and rear seat champagne coolers with crystal glasses included. Even the air conditioning has a diffused mode, designed to circulate air gently without blowing directly on passengers. The philosophy here is clear. In a Rolls-Royce, technology should never feel like technology. It should feel like magic, seamless, invisible, and always tailored to the passenger. Talking about performance in a Rolls-Royce is a little strange, because the Phantom Extended Wheelbase isn't built for lap times or Nürburgring records. But that doesn't mean it's slow. Under the hood, the 2025 Phantom EWB carries Rolls-Royce's signature 675 litre twin-turbocharged V12 engine, producing around 563 horsepower and 664 lb-ft torque. On paper, those numbers might not sound as outrageous as a Lamborghini or a Tesla Plaid, but here's the difference. The Phantom delivers its power like a tidal wave, smooth, effortless, and almost silent. Step on the accelerator, and the car doesn't lurch forward or scream like a supercar. Instead, it simply moves, with a calm surge of torque that makes its nearly 3-ton body feel weightless. 0 to 60 mph all happens in just over 5 seconds, which is impressive for something this massive. But more important than the numbers is the feeling. It never feels like the car is trying. It's composed, dignified, and serene. The transmission is an 8-speed automatic, but it's not just any gearbox. It's paired with Rolls-Royce's satellite-aided transmission, which actually uses GPS data to predict the road ahead and pre-select gears accordingly. So if you're approaching a curve, the car already knows and adjusts itself before you even turn the wheel. That's the kind of hidden intelligence that defines this car. Ride quality is another area where the Phantom stands alone. Thanks to the Magic Carpet Ride suspension, featuring air springs and advanced dampers, the car literally glides over imperfections. Potholes, rough roads, speed bumps, they vanish beneath the tires. Honestly, it's almost eerie how smooth it feels. Like the car is floating a few inches above the ground. Driving the Phantom EWB isn't about adrenaline. It's about dominance and effortlessness. It's power without drama, something only Rolls-Royce can deliver. Now here's the funny thing about the Phantom Extended Wheelbase. Most owners will never drive it themselves. This is a car designed for chauffeurs, built for people who prefer to enjoy the rear cabin, while someone else does the work up front. But let's be honest, if you do get behind the wheel, the experience is something truly unforgettable. First off, the driving position feels like sitting on a throne. The massive hood stretches out in front of you, crowned with the spirit of ecstasy, and you instantly realize you're commanding a rolling palace. The steering is surprisingly light for such a gigantic vehicle, making it far less intimidating to maneuver than you might expect. Of course, it's still nearly 19 feet long, so parallel parking isn't exactly fun, but Rolls-Royce has packed in every camera and sensor you could ever need. On the open road, the Phantom feels completely untouchable. Wind noise? None. Road noise? Non-existent. Even when trucks roar past on the highway, the cabin remains eerily silent. You find yourself driving slower than usual, not because the car can't go faster, but because you want to savor every moment of the calm. It's the opposite of a sports car where speed thrills. The Phantom's gift is serenity. What really struck me, though, is how confident you feel behind the wheel. You don't hustle this car, you guide it. The suspension smooths out everything, and the V12 delivers torque so effortlessly that overtaking feels like a polite gesture rather than an aggressive move. And when you arrive somewhere, stepping out of a Phantom makes every entrance feel like a red carpet moment. Driving this car isn't about fun. In the traditional sense, it's about power, presence, and pure composure. Few vehicles in the world can make you feel like this. After spending time with the 2025 Rolls-Royce Phantom Extended Wheelbase, one thing becomes absolutely clear. This isn't just another luxury sedan, it's the pinnacle of what a car can be when money is no object. Most vehicles are defined by performance, technology, or even style. But the Phantom goes beyond all of that. It represents an idea, a lifestyle, and honestly, a level of existence that feels completely separate from the real world. For me, what stands out the most is not the horsepower or the price tag or even the insane amount of customization. It's the feeling this car gives off. When you're inside, the outside world almost disappears. Stress doesn't exist. Deadlines don't matter. Even traffic jams feel irrelevant because you're cocooned in absolute serenity. That's something very few cars in history have been able to achieve. Now, let's be real. The Phantom Extended Wheelbase is not practical. It's not efficient. And unless you're in the tiny percentage of people who can casually drop $500,000 on a car, it will never be something you own. But that's the beauty of it. It's aspirational. It's the automotive equivalent of a private jet or a yacht. You don't have to own one to appreciate what it represents. At the end of the day, the Phantom isn't about driving, it's about arriving. And in 2025, Rolls-Royce has once again proven that no one does timeless, effortless luxury quite like they do. So, what do you think? Is the Phantom Extended Wheelbase the ultimate expression of automotive luxury? Or do you think another car deserves the crown? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around for more unfiltered car reviews.